Hey, thanks for clicking on Wayne.com for this week's edition of Inside the Zone. Justin Hodgman, you can probably tell, is our guest this week. And Hodgie, second season back here in Fort Wayne. Just heading into this season, what was your approach to this year? Because if you take a look at it, you got 39 points at this point of the season, tied for the team lead, which is impressive because you've missed some time with the hand injury recently.
Yeah, I just had a lot to prove. Even though it's my 10th season and I've accomplished a lot, and I'm proud of my career, I wasn't very happy at all with how last year went. Obviously, there is some circumstances that were out of my control with the injury that set me back. But I still feel that I think I underestimated the league and I didn't come into camp in shape as good as I should have. And so I think that just trickled down for the whole year. And I didn't like how the year ended up with me, obviously, with the concussion at the end too. So I had a lot to prove, and obviously the first half for me went great. The hand injury is a little setback, but I'll be ready for a good finish here. So.
Yeah, when you take a look back at last season, because it was a shoulder, correct?
Yeah.
That was the majority of it. And then a concussion is really difficult to diagnose and know how long the effects are going to be. How frustrating was that for you, and how much of a motivating factor was it?
Yeah, it was extremely frustrating, especially in the playoffs. I felt like I was just hitting my stride again after coming back from the injury. And it's unfortunately I've dealt with a few in my career, and there's just not much you can do with it. I'm not sure if he was targeting my head, but we play Cincinnati about 12 times a year, so there's some
familiarity breeds contempt.
Yeah. So I'm over it now. It was a lengthy concussion. I had some serious symptoms that I had to deal with, and unfortunately people around me have to deal with as well. But thankfully it's past me now, and I'm just moving forward and hoping for a clear bill of health going forward.
So what's allowed you to have the success this season? I know your line mates are obviously pretty good, and you guys have really, it seems like, played well off of each other.
Yeah, I think I've been lucky that, I had good chemistry with everyone that I've been set up with, thankfully, this year. I'm obviously a passer. I'm trying to be a playmaker. I think anyone I play with knows to get me the puck and get to the slot, get to the net. So I had a lot of good chemistry with Petro earlier in the year. Obviously, JC and I have connected well together. I haven't spent much time with Brady since before I got hurt, but we were starting to click there as well. But I think the main one for me was me and JC. We really clicked. He's obviously a shooter. I'm a passer, and it's a perfect marriage.
Before we talk more about hockey, let's just talk about May 12th, 2008. A day that will forever live in Comets history.
Yeah.
Some would argue it's the most iconic goal we've seen in Fort Wayne, which is saying something considering their 67 seasons of hockey. And as you know, people love their Comets hockey here in Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
But that triple overtime, Game 7 goal against Port Huron to win the Cup, as a kid, that has to be, here in Indiana, we're playing and shooting three-pointers at the buzzer to win the driveway. But as a hockey player, to win a cup in an overtime with a game-winning goal, especially at 19 years old on the pro level, that had to be a dream come true.
Yeah, it was pretty special, to say the least. It is kind of hard to put into words. I could have. It was almost like a fairy tale, for me to come in here. I knew nothing about Fort Wayne. I didn't even know where Indiana was on a map. But to come into the building and watching my first game, I had no idea what to expect, and I was completely blown out of the water. And I think my play, showed just how excited I was to be in Fort Wayne, how much I fed off the fans. I remember in my first period getting a standing ovation from a forecheck on the penalty kill, and it was just like shivers down my back. It was coming to the bench and skating hard to the bench and changing. The fans were going nuts. They just love their hockey here. So to bring a championship at that age in that fashion, and to take home the MVP, it was surreal, absolutely surreal.
Now you continued to play in the OHL, was that correct?
Yeah. So
and then kept coming back here.
Again.
Because it seemed to be a process that, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, so I still had one more season left of junior hockey. I could have went and played pro. I had an offer to play for the Houston Aeros in the American Hockey League. I decided to go back to Erie and just play one more year of junior. And then got knocked out in the first round, and there was enough time to get enough regular season games in with the Comets again. I actually had an offer at the end of that season to go to Lake Erie in the American League, but I had a young family at that time, and we were obviously from Fort Wayne, so I said, why not come back and try and do it again? And thankfully, it happened again for the second one.
Yeah, you and Jamie and a few of the guys do have families. I know it's difficult to start a family and to make everything work when you have kind of the lifestyle. But how have you been able to make it work? And you have, a son and a daughter here, correct?
Yeah, 2 kids. Yeah, I mean, it's been tough, and especially a lot of my career has, been predominantly in Europe. So it's tough, it's tough on your family, it's tough on your girlfriends or wives or fiancés. But Nicole is an absolutely amazing woman. I say it all the time. She's a saint. The things that she can handle and she can deal with is unbelievable. She came across to Europe with a newborn and a 2-year-old, adapted to that life over there, and just moving all over the country as well. It's not easy, but when you do have a family and the kids start to grow up and they're with you in the newsroom or in the dressing room
Or in the anchor chair.
Yeah, right. It's so rewarding to share that with them, and being able to do it now in Fort Wayne, and having this success that I've had now, especially, it is very cool to share it with them.
Well, we had a 2-hour delay this morning. My kids had a 2-hour delay. You had a 2-hour delay.
Yeah,
I'm
love it.
assuming as well. Yeah, how do you
Yeah.
make it all work? Because your work schedule is a little bit like ours, and it's kind of a night schedule. But you guys practice in the afternoon as well. How do you make it all work? I mean, you mentioned Nicole and just the flexibility there and what she's been able to do. But
Yeah.
You want to be the best you are on the ice, and you want to be the best you are off the ice. I imagine.
Of course. Well, thankfully, her work schedule is flexible, and her bosses are great with that. And our system is pretty much. I try to take them in with me being gone as much as I was. I try and do as much as I can with the kids now that I am home and I am able to do this stuff. So I'll take the kids in the morning. I'm up at 6:30 and I get them ready. I take them to school. They start pretty early. I think they have to be there by 7:45. And then I just head over to the rink. So sometimes I sit in the car and hop on my phone, or I go to the rink and I get an early stretch or chop Matt's ear off in the trainer's room. Then I practice a little bit of downtime in the afternoon, and I go and pick them up, and that's just about it. My daughter swims downtown, and Zayden's usually got baseball or basketball or hockey. So we keep busy, but it's just a lot of communication and a lot of flexibility, thankfully, with both work schedules.
Well, when you went over to Europe, how difficult of a transition was that? Because you'll see a lot of players play at this level and then go over to Europe. We saw it with Chalker. We saw it with Sid recently.
Yeah.
Is the money that much better over there, or what's the situation? Why does it seem like these successful guys want to go over and play in Europe?
Yeah, I mean, you have to remember, when you're playing in their respected leagues, you're usually the top sport. Most countries have soccer, so maybe not the top sport, but you're at least at the top level of hockey in that country. So that league is getting all the TV rights. They're getting all the big deals from the equipment companies and whatnot. So the money is obviously better, and the better leagues you go to, usually you go to a starter league like Norway or Finland or Austria, and if you play well enough, you kind of move up the ranks. And if your goal is to, play at the best level, your goal should be Russia. And the money in Russia, if you're worth it and you could deal with the lifestyle, is absolutely more than what you can earn here in the minor leagues.
Well, you made it all the way up to the NHL, which is any hockey player's dream.
Yeah.
Arizona in the 2014-2015 season.
Oh, I'm terrible with that, but I'll take your
I
word
looked
for
it up right
All
before you
good.
came
Yeah,
in,
okay,
so I
good.
was pretty confident about that.
Good.
You scored a goal in your first NHL game.
Yeah.
What was that moment like? Because I imagine, surreal probably doesn't even encapsulate it.
Yeah, like I said, for the overtime goal or the triple overtime goal, surreal. Talk about third period in your first game at home. I don't know if it was a sellout, but it was earlier in the year, so we had a pretty good crowd. And I got put on the power play. I wasn't practicing on the power play all week, but they put me on the power play. And to just have that goal, even just thinking about it now, obviously just puts a huge smile on my face. I think you could see it on the video about, how just elated I was. And to do it at 26 too. A lot of kids now you see are making the NHL 18 to 22, maybe 23. And then if they don't make it like I did, they're going over to Europe and trying to find their route through hockey that way. So to do it at 26 was special and rare, and obviously something I'll never forget. My celebration was a little over the top, jumping into the glass and whatnot. But we tied up the game. It ended up leading to an overtime win for the team, and Ended up being one of the stars and got a great ovation. So the whole night was extremely special.
Yeah, that was around Halloween, I think, around that time, was it not?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. We had that teen Halloween party right afterwards too, so it was pretty cool to experience that.
I would think so.
Yeah.
So when you take a look back about your decision to come back to Fort Wayne, what was it that ultimately, obviously you have family here, but what was it that made it the right decision? Because like you said, financially and in terms of exposure, sometimes Europe can be a better situation, but you wanted to come back and play here.
Yeah, it was just time to make things a little bit easier on my family. Nicole and the kids have been through a lot, and they deserved, to have dad at home and to have me be here to help more. I always said I wanted to come back to Fort Wayne, and I think I might have last year. If you asked me, I might have told you I was closer to the end of my career than I actually think now. I feel like my resurgence this year, I'd like to play a little bit more, maybe till 35. Last year I would have said 33. So it's breathed life back into my career, being with the kids and Nicole and the Fort Wayne fans, and I'm so thankful for that. And it was a great decision to come back, because there were offers, throughout Europe, and obviously the money would have been better, but this was definitely the right decision.
Now Shaftsman's got 4 kids,
Yeah.
so he's doubled you up. Are you
Yeah.
are you at any point trying to catch up
No.
to the Shaftsman clan?
No, not at all. And it's funny. It's a terrible story. Before they told anybody that they were pregnant, Shazzy was just talking intermittently about possibly having another one, and Nicole's sitting there pregnant, and I remember talking to them about saying, "Oh, I heard Shazzy said you want to have another one." And I'm like, "Are you crazy? 4 is nuts," and she's sitting there pregnant. So the next day I found out she was pregnant. I called her. I apologized.
Sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, again, to talk about a saint too. She's a saint. The things that she does with those 4 kids, and Shazzy's busy schedule, and Sutter's hockey. I mean, they do a great job. They're great parents and an amazing family.
So for this year's team, what is it? Because when you guys have all the pieces together, you guys are a pretty special hockey team.
Yeah.
What is it about this year's team that has you guys clicking? When I said you have everything together.
Yeah, it's just been tough to get everything together. You know what I mean? With injuries and call-ups and trades and whatnot, it's been tough to see that full picture. But I think when you do see it, we do have a special team. I think management and coaching always does a great job at putting the right team together that this city and these fans deserve. And Gary and Benny and Legs always have us fully prepared. So we've had some tough stretches. Obviously, it hasn't been the smoothest year, but I think that you see when we're at our best, where we can be a pretty good high-flying team. I think it's obvious that we don't have the scoring like we did last year, but that was extremely rare. I mean, we could put up 6 goals on any given night, and it was almost like, I don't think it was a true depiction of what to expect from.
Almost unrealistic.
Unrealistic, to be honest with you, it really was. I mean, with Desi and G and Sid and Babs, the guys were just so hot all year. At Kravi, we just scored a ton of goals, and like you said, it's unrealistic. So you see a lot more 1-goal games this year. We go on a little bit of slides, but that's, those things happen. It's better to get it done in January and December than, March. So.
You guys have 46. You're 46 games in. You actually have a couple games in hand on most people in your division.
Yep.
Currently sitting third after getting 6 points this past weekend in Newfoundland. What is it this team have to do to make a strong playoff push down the stretch? Because things are really even. If you take a look at the not only take a look at the standings, but just taking a look at the quality of play in this division, it seems like any team can beat any team on a given night.
Yeah, it's like a playoff game almost every single night within this division. And to your point, Brady Shaw sits beside me in the dressing room, and after his 3rd game, he's like, "This division's ridiculous." Coming from the division he was playing in Orlando, and I don't know if he was relating it to Colorado as well last year. But he's like, it literally is like a playoff game every night, and I love it. It makes it more interesting. I think it's great for the fans. It's great to prepare you for that playoff run, but it's nice to have those games in hand, and it's going to be a grind right up until Game 72 for sure.
When you take a look at your health, obviously, fans are wondering because they saw you play in the ECHL All-Star game, saw you having a lot of fun in the ECHL All-Star game, which, you love to stick it to anybody from Toledo.
Yeah,
I think.
absolutely, right.
But obviously we saw you score a couple goals in the ECHL All-Star game, come back here and try to get things healthy. There was going to be no contact in the ECHL All-Star game, so that made it, fine for you to go. But where are you at with the hand, and what is kind of the prognosis for you. Will we see you back this week? Will we see you back next week? Because obviously you and your line are a big part of what this team does.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was a big deal to be selected for the All-Star game, and when I found out that I broke my hand, I mean, I was devastated. My son was devastated. My dad was coming in from Toronto. We had hotels booked and whatnot, and I just wanted to, if there was any way that I was going to be able to play in that game for the experience for myself at my age, where I might not get the chance again, for my kids to be there and then to be named captain, if there was any way I could play. I know the optics weren't great, but with not having to worry about getting hit or taking face-offs or getting slashed because of the All-Star game is just vanilla like that. That I was going to do it, and so I got taped up. I don't think my coach was too happy that he found out I literally couldn't shoot a puck.
Is that important?
Yeah, right. Yeah, but in the All-Star, I said if I'm on a breakaway, I can do a deke because I've always been able to stick handle even from when the moment it was broken. But I couldn't take a wrist shot, so I could pass or I could deke, and I just avoid any contact. And luckily, I did that. Even on that one goal, the pass was coming across hard, and I knew it would hurt, so I took my hand off, and I just used my leg as leverage and was able to score a goal. So, but once I scored those 2 goals, I said that was it. I was done. I got both pucks for the kids. But going forward, I haven't practiced with the team yet. They have their hour practice, and then I hop on at the end and do a conditioning skate. So I'd like to practice with the team this week. I don't know when the actual return will be. I had to go see the doctor one more time and get with the coaches and get with Matt and just see how it reacts. But the last X-ray I got, the bone was healing nicely. So I'll get back with the team and see just how limited I am. But I don't think the return is too far away.
Yeah, how hungry are you to get back? Because, I mean, you're talking about, you got a little taste in the All-Star break, and it was fun. But this team needs you to make a playoff push.
Yeah, I mean they've been doing great. This weekend I didn't get to watch the games, but obviously to take a team like Newfoundland to 3 overtime games, it says a lot about our team and with the injuries that we have and the change in the roster. I think it speaks a lot to what we can expect from our team going forward. But yeah, I can't wait to get back. This is killing me sitting up there watching the games or not being with the team or practicing with the team. It really starts to take its toll on you. So I'm ready to get back in action, and like I said, hopefully it's not too far away.
Well, all right, man. I appreciate it. I think Comets fans are ready to have you back.
All right, cool.
And see you on the ice at the Coliseum. He's Justin Hodgman. I'm Glenn. We'll see you next week on Inside the Zone.